So I'm here with our friend, Dr. Alan Mead. You may know him as one of the co-hosts of the Dental Hacks podcast, my favorite podcast. Don't tell Josh Austin and Mike Totola that, though. We're all buddies. So, Alan Mead, you wrote a fantastic article in December. It's done extremely well. A lot of comments and likes and shares on social media. Lawlessness in the wild west frontier of SEO. SEO is and was and has been such a big buzzword when it comes to dentists who are they figure out they need a website. They have no idea what to do with it or how it should look. And so you pointed out, and you were the first to point this out, at least that I've seen, and say, hey, there's some companies out there that are taking advantage of their ignorance and maybe selling dentist things either that they don't need or they're going about it in the wrong way. Tell us a little bit, and obviously go to dentaleconomics.com to see this story if you missed it in print. But tell us a little bit about hint at what you wrote about, but what have you seen out there? What kind of companies what are companies up to that's no good?
Well, what inspired me to write the article was actually a friend of mine had been doing really well with Facebook marketing. And what happened was he found while he was searching himself that actually companies actually used his own name as a search word in Google. So basically, if you searched his practice's name, you would get a paid ad that would have his practice's name, but then it would actually refer you to someone else's website. And they knew he was doing really well with his marketing, so it was a matter of they kind of took advantage of that. Well, clearly that's you can't do that. That was kind of stealing his identity to some extent.
It was, yeah, sure.
But more importantly was when he brought it to their attention. The doctor said, "Oh, I didn't know. It was the company I was using." And then when they brought it to the company's attention, they said, "I have no idea. It was the algorithm. We didn't. This just happened." And clearly, it didn't happen that way. Someone was knowledgeable, knew he was killing it, and decided to do this, hoping they wouldn't get caught. That's clearly what happened. So my point was that you can't just count on the company to do the right thing. That was my concern as a dentist. Doing Facebook ads, Google ads, or even your website SEO, you can't count on the company to do the right thing. And it is kind of on us to do the right thing and to be knowledgeable enough about what's being done in our name to do the right thing. So that's kind of what inspired the article.
Well, that was great and a shocking story, and dentists should absolutely be paying attention to what their companies are doing. And you made some great suggestions proactively about what dentists can do to make sure that the companies are behaving ethically. But there was another instance in your article, you went in another direction too, about maybe how some dentists are willingly or knowingly participating in something that maybe isn't as egregious as the story you just told, where they're basically stealing links and redirecting and pretending to be someone that they're not. What's your take on dentists when they have someone else write dental advice on their website or even show pictures of beautiful smiles? It's one thing to have a picture of a beautiful smile. It's another if it's, presented in a way that makes it look like you did that dentistry. And, of course, they're just, stock photos or something like that. What's your take on that?
It's very common. It's very common, probably more common than the first thing we talked about. Honestly, so many articles, so many blog posts are written with a doctor's byline, and the doctor had nothing to do with the article. And I think a lot of people feel like that's not that big of a deal, that people do that all the time. It's like having a ghostwriter. But I feel like the problem with that is that if you write an article and people point to it as saying this person is an expert in the field, look, he wrote this article, and you didn't actually write it, but you're sort of taking credit for it. I feel like that's pretty dishonest. I feel like I think that's probably an ethical breach, to tell you the truth, because if someone's going to an article because you're the expert that wrote this article and you didn't write it, I think that's a problem. And I think some things are maybe more egregious than others, but that's clearly, to me, it's an ethical breach. Part of it is I think dentists don't give themselves enough credit. Dentists talk to their patients every day, and they explain things to their patients every day. My thought is, why can't you write the same way that you explain to a patient? It's more helpful, and it's your own words. Why do you need some SEO guy that says you need a blog to write blog posts for you, to pay someone to do something that you could do probably better anyhow? So I don't know. I feel strongly that if the claim is being made that we're writing it, we should probably write it. That's where I come from.
Well, Alan, I agree with you 100%. And I would invite the people watching at home, if you didn't get a chance to check it out, read Alan's article on dentaleconomics.com. And Alan, what are all the places that they can find the Dental Hacks podcast if they haven't already?
All right. So first you can go to the website, dentalhacks.com, and you can pretty much listen to all of our episodes there. If you have a smartphone, particularly if you have an iPhone, you're going to go to the Podcasts app, and all iPhones have that app. Even if you don't know you have it, it's there. Go to the Podcasts app and search Dental Hacks or just Dental. And actually, will come up, and a whole bunch of other dental podcasts will come up that you'll like to. And if you don't have an iPhone, if you don't have an Apple, Android, you can download Stitcher, or there's several other apps as well. You can also search for Dental Hacks there. A lot of places to find it, but or you can just Google Dental Hacks, and it'll find you all those things. So yeah, we're all over the place.
Well, perfect. And dental podcasts are exploding right now. And I think anyone that is listening to dental podcasts knows very well who Alan Mead is. Him and Jason Lipscomb have just an incredible podcast. I think you guys really found the perfect formula for it. It is required listening in my book. I listen to it every week. So thank you, Alan, for taking the time out of your busy schedule to write an article for DE. I'm sure we'll see you again in the pages there soon.
Thanks very much, Chris. We appreciate it.
Take care, Alan.